Poor food truck girl ignored the Dragon King in line until he whispered, "Still remember me?" The line at Taste of Home stretched halfway down Main Street. It was 11:30 in the morning. The lunch rush hadn't even officially started yet, but people were already gathering, waiting for the little blue food truck to slide open its service window. Maya Thompson wiped sweat from her brow and checked the rice one more time. Perfect. Fluffy. Just like her grandmother used to make it. 5 minutes until opening, she could hear snippets of conversations from outside. Office workers complaining about their micromanaging bosses, construction workers joking about the scorching heat, students debating their upcoming midterms. The same crowd every day, the same rhythm, the same life. Maya didn't mind. Routine was safe. Routine was predictable. Routine kept the bills paid and kept her grandmother going. Speaking of which, she pulled out her phone and checked her messages. One from the hospital. Her grandmother's next treatment was scheduled for Thursday. The bill would be $4,000. Maya closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She would figure it out. She always did. The clock struck 11:30. Maya slid open the service window and flashed her brightest a smile. Next in line, please. The rush began. For the next 3 hours, Maya was a machine, taking orders, cooking, plating, handing out food, making change, repeat. Her menu was simple: rice and beans, grilled chicken, sweet potato fries, hand pies, nothing fancy. Just good, honest food made with love. That's what her grandmother always said. The secret ingredient is love. Honey, never forget that. Maya never did. By 2:30, the lunch rush was winding down. Maya leaned against the counter, exhausted but satisfied. Another successful day in the books. Then she noticed him. There was a man at the end of the line. He was wearing a suit that probably cost more than her truck itself. His watch caught the sunlight and nearly blinded her. His shoes were so polished she could practically see her own reflection in them. He did not belong here. Maya served the customers ahead of him, stealing glances when she could. He was tall and dark hair and a strong jaw, the kind of face you saw in magazines, not in food truck lines. When he finally reached the window, Maya felt her breath catch. His eyes. There was something about his eyes. "What can I get for you?" she asked as professionally as possible. The man studied the menu board for a long moment, then he smiled. "What do you recommend?" "Everything is good," Maya said, "but the chicken is my grandmother's recipe. It's the most popular. Then I'll have the chicken plate, extra sweet potato fries." Maya nodded and started preparing his order. She could feel him watching her. It made her a little nervous. "Busy day," the man said. "Always is." Maya focused on the food. People love good home cooking. "I can see why." The man paused. "Have you been doing this long?" 3 years. Maya handed him his plate. $12. The man pulled out his wallet and handed her a $100 bill. "Keep the change." Maya blinked. "Sir, that's way too much. I can't accept that. Consider it a tip for the best food truck in the city." Before Maya could argue, the man took his plate and walked away. He sat on a bench across the street and ate slowly, watching the truck. Maya tried to ignore him. She had other customers, other problems. She didn't have time to wonder about strange, rich men who overpaid for chicken. But she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd seen those eyes somewhere before. The man came back the next day. Same time. Same suit. Different color. He waited in line like everyone else. He ordered the same thing, chicken plate, extra sweet potato fries, and he tried to leave another $100 tip. "No," Maya said firmly. "I told you yesterday that I can't accept that." "Why not?" "Because I work for my money. I don't take charity." The man studied her for a long moment. Something flickered in his eyes, something that looked almost like admiration. "Then consider it payment for the extra sweet potato fries," he said. "That's not charities, that's commerce. The extra sweet potato fries cost $2. I really like sweet potato fries." Despite herself, Maya laughed. "You are stubborn." "So, I've been told." He left a 50 that day. Maya tried to give it back, but he was already walking away. He came back the next day too, and the next, and the next. For a whole week, the man in the expensive suit showed up at Taste of Home. He always ordered the same thing. He always tried to leave an outrageous tip. He always sat on the same bench and watched the truck while he ate. Maya started thinking of him as the usual. Her friend Ashley, who helped with the truck on busy days, had other names for him. The hot, rich guy is here again, Ashley announced on day 5. I think he likes you. He likes the food, Maya said, not looking up from the grill. Maya, the man literally bought a chicken plate and stared at you for an hour yesterday. That's not about food. Maybe he's lonely. He could be lonely anywhere. He chose to be lonely here, looking at you. Maya didn't respond. She didn't want to think about why a man like that would be interested in a food truck girl like her. She had learned a long time ago that rich people and poor people didn't mix, not in any way that ended well for the poor person. On day 7, something changed. The lunch rush was over. Most of the customers had gone back to work. Maya was cleaning the grill when she heard a familiar voice. Maya. She looked up. The usual was at the window, but he wasn't ordering food. He was just looking at her with those strange, familiar eyes. Can I help you? The man was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You gave me your sandwich. Excuse me, 15 years ago, behind Oakwood Elementary School, 3 boys had me cornered. They were going to beat me up for my lunch money. You walked right up to them and told them to leave me alone. Maya froze. The memories came flooding back. A skinny boy with scared eyes, 3 bullies twice his size, her own fear, buried under righteous anger. The sandwich she had given him because the bullies had already taken his. You were so small, the man continued, and they were so big, but you weren't afraid, and you stood between them and me, and you said, if you want to hurt him, you have to go through me first. Maya's hands were shaking. They pushed you down, took your lunch too, but you got back up and helped me anyway. You shared the only thing you had left, a peanut butter sandwich, cut into triangles. He smiled. You said your grandmother always cut them that way because triangles tasted better. Maya couldn't breathe. I never forgot you, the man said softly. I've been looking for you for years. I finally found you last month, but I wanted to be sure. I wanted to see if you were still the same person. He leaned closer. You are. You still have the same kindness, the same fire, the same heart that shares what little it has with strangers who need it more. Maya finally found her voice. Lucas, the man smiled, that brilliant, boyish smile she remembered from all those years ago. Hi, Maya. Still remember me? Maya remembered. She remembered the skinny boy who had been new to the neighborhood, the boy who had been too small, and too quiet, and too different. The boy the other kids had targeted because he was an easy victim. She remembered walking home from Oakwood Elementary School and seeing him cornered in the alley behind the building. 3 8th graders, fists raised. The boy backed against the wall with nowhere to run. She remembered not thinking, just acting. Walking right into that alley and putting herself between the bullies and their prey. She was 9 years old. She weighed maybe 60 pounds soaking wet. She had no plan, and no backup, and no chance of winning. But she had done it anyway, because it was the right thing to do. The bullies had laughed at her, pushed her down, taken her lunch too. But when they left, she had gotten up, dusted herself off, and helped the boy to his feet. You okay? Why did you do that? The boy had been crying. They could have hurt you, eh? They were hurting you. But you don't even know me. She had shrugged. 9-year-old logic. So, you needed help. Then she had reached into her pocket and pulled out the only thing she had left, half a peanut butter sandwich. Her grandmother Ashley always packed an extra one just in case. Here, you must be hungry. The boy had taken the sandwich like it was made of gold. Why are you being nice to me? Because someone should be. They had sat together on the steps and shared that sandwich. 2 kids with nothing, finding comfort in each other. The boy had told her his name was Lucas. His parents had just moved to the neighborhood. His dad worked a lot and his mum was always sad. He didn't have any friends yet. Maya had told him her name and said he had a friend now. They had walked home together that day. And the next day. And the next. For 3 months. Lucas and Maya were inseparable. Best friends. 2 lonely kids who had found each other in a world that seemed too big and too mean. Then one day, Lucas didn't come to school. Or the next day. Or the next. Maya went to his apartment and found it empty. A neighbor told her the family had moved away in the middle of the night. Something about his father's work. Lucas was gone. No goodbye. No forwarding address. No way to contact him. Maya had cried for a week, and then, because life didn't stop for broken hearts, she had moved on, grown up, faced 1,000 other challenges and 1,000 other losses. She had almost forgotten about the skinny boy with the scared eyes. Almost. "You disappeared," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "One day you were there, and then you were just gone." Lucas's face clouded with old pain. "My father. He was in trouble with some bad people. We had to leave fast. No time for goodbyes. No time for anything. I looked for you." Maya felt tears threatening. "I went to your apartment. I asked everyone. Nobody knew anything." "I know." Lucas reached through the window and took her hand. "I wanted to come back. I wanted to find you. But I was just a kid. I didn't have any power, any control." "What happened to you?" Lucas's jaw tightened. "My father died 2 years after we left. Bad heart. My mother fell apart. We ended up on the streets for a while," Maya gasped. "Lucas, an uncle, took us in eventually, not out of kindness, out of obligation. He made sure I knew every day that I was a burden, a charity case, a reminder of his dead brother's failures." Lucas looked down at his expensive watch. His voice was bitter. "But I worked. I studied. I scraped and saved and built something from nothing. I started a company in my garage when I was 19. It failed. I started another one. It failed too. The third one didn't fail." He looked up at her. "I'm worth $4 billion now, Maya. I have offices in 12 countries and I employ 15,000 people. I can buy anything I want." He squeezed her hand. "But I never forgot the girl who stood up for me when I had nothing. The girl who shared her sandwich when I was hungry. The girl who showed me that kindness exists even when the world is cruel." Maya was crying now. She couldn't help it. 15 years of wondering. 15 years of not knowing. And here he was. "I thought about you too," she admitted, "when things got hard, when I wanted to give up. I would remember that day. Remember that sometimes the right thing and the hard thing are the same thing." Lucas smiled through his own tears. "We were just kids. We were kids who knew what mattered." They stood there for a long moment, hands intertwined through the food truck window. 2 people reunited by fate and food and memories that neither had ever truly forgotten. Then Ashley cleared her throat behind Maya. Not to interrupt this beautiful moment, but there are like 20 people in line." Maya laughed, wiping her eyes. "Right. Sorry. I have to." "I know." Lucas let go of her hand. "Can I see you after you close? There's so much I want to tell you. So much I want to know." Maya hesitated. 15 years was a long time. They were different people now. He was a billionaire. She was a food truck owner with a sick grandmother and a mountain of bills. What could they possibly have in common anymore? But then she looked into his eyes. Those same eyes she remembered, scared and hopeful and desperately wanting to belong. Some things didn't change. "I close at 7, she said. "There's a park 2 blocks north, by the fountain. Lucas grinned. "I'll be there." He walked away, and Maya turned back to her customers with a smile she couldn't quite suppress. "What was that about?" Ashley demanded. "Long story." "Girl, you're literally crying and smiling at the same time. That's not a long story. That's a telenovela." Maya laughed. "Maybe. I'll tell you later." But as she worked through the rest of the day, her mind kept drifting back to Lucas, to the boy he had been, to the man he had become. $4 billion. It didn't seem real. None of it seemed real. And yet here they were, two kids from the same broken neighborhood, finding each other again after all these years. Maya didn't believe in fate. She believed in hard work and determination and making your own luck. But this felt like something more, something meant to be. She finished the day on autopilot, counting down the hours until 7 o'clock. Maya arrived at the park at 7:15. She had wanted to be on time, but closing up Taste of Home always took longer than she expected, cleaning the grill, counting the cash in the register, making sure everything was locked up tight. Ashley had offered to help, but Maya had sent her home. She really needed the time alone to think. What was she doing? Lucas Hartwell was a billionaire, a real billionaire, the kind of person who probably had a private jet and a mansion with more rooms than she had ever seen, and she was... what? A food truck owner with a dying grandmother and a bank account that was always one bad week away from disaster. This was insane. But she kept walking toward Oakwood Park anyway. Lucas was already there, sitting on a bench by the fountain, looking up at the darkening sky. He had changed out of his suit into jeans and a simple button-down shirt. He looked almost normal. Almost. Maya sat down beside him. The fountain bubbled softly between them, a gentle barrier in the world. "You came," Lucas said. "I almost didn't." "Why?" Maya looked at him, really looked at him. The years had changed him. He was taller now, broader. His face had lost its softness and gained edges. He looked like a man who had fought for everything he had, which she supposed he had. "Because you are Lucas Hartwell. You own half the city. You probably have assistants for your assistants." "Sir, and I sell chicken plates out of a truck." Lucas laughed. "And here I thought you liked me for my personality." "I am being serious. So am I." Lucas turned to face her. "Maya, I have spent 15 years looking for you. 15 years wondering what happened to the brave little girl who stood up to bullies twice her size. Do you think I care about your food truck?" "Most people would." "I am not most people." "No," Maya admitted. "You are not." They sat in silence for a moment. The fountain continued its gentle song. "Tell me about your life," Lucas said. "Everything. I want to know all of it." So Maya told him. She told him about her parents, how her mother had died when she was 3, cancer, how her father had tried to raise her alone but couldn't handle it, how he had dropped her off at her grandmother's house one day and never come back. She told him about grandmother Eleanor, the woman who had taken her in without question, who had taught her to cook and clean and work hard, who had loved her unconditionally, even when Maya had been difficult and angry and confused. She told him about high school, working 2 jobs while trying to keep her grades up, saving every penny for a future she could barely imagine. She told him about her dreams, culinary school, a real restaurant someday, and making her grandmother proud. She told him about how those dreams had died. Grandmother Eleanor getting sick, the medical bills piling up, the choice between school and survival. She told him about the food truck, her compromise, a way to use her cooking skills while staying flexible enough to take care of her grandmother, selling her sweet potato fries and hand pies to make ends meet. She told him about the last 3 years, the long hours, the endless worry, the constant juggling of bills and treatments and prayers. She told him everything. And when she was done, Lucas was quiet for a long time. "You are amazing," he finally said. "You know that." Maya laughed bitterly. "I am barely surviving." "No, you are thriving, against impossible odds. with no help, no support, no safety net. You built a successful business while caring for a sick family member. Most people would have given up years ago. I could not give up. My grandmother is all I have, and she is lucky to have you. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back. She had cried enough for one day. Your turn, she said. Tell me about your life. So Lucas told her. He told her about the years after he left, moving from city to city as his father tried to stay ahead of the people chasing them, never staying anywhere long enough to make friends, never feeling safe. He told her about his father's death, a heart attack in a motel room. Lucas was 11 years old. He had to call the ambulance himself. He told her about his mother's breakdown, the grief that consumed her, the way she stopped being able to function, the way he had to become the adult at 11 years old. He told her about his uncle, Richard Hartwell, his father's older brother, a successful businessman who had agreed to take them in but made it clear every day that they were unwelcome. He told her about the years of cruelty, the verbal abuse, the constant reminders that he was a burden, the way his uncle had tried to break him. He told her about his rebellion, working secretly while pretending to be a useless waste of space, saving money, learning everything he could about business, waiting for his chance. He told her about starting his first company, in a garage with a borrowed laptop and a dream, about failing, starting again, failing again, starting again. He told her about his third company, about the breakthrough that changed everything, about the investors who believed in him, about the growth that seemed impossible until it was not. He told her about success, about buying out his uncle's company just to see the look on his face, about giving his mother the care she needed, about building an empire from nothing. He told her about loneliness, about being surrounded by people who wanted his money but not him, about the endless parade of fake friends and gold diggers, about wondering if anyone would ever see the scared kid behind the billionaire mask. He told her everything. And when he was done, Maya reached over and took his hand. I remember that kid, she said softly. He was braver than he knew. Lucas squeezed her hand. So was that little girl. They sat together as the stars came out, two broken people finding comfort in shared history and shared scars. Maya did not know what this was, did not know where it was going, did not know if it could possibly work, but for the first time in years, she felt something she had almost forgotten how to feel: hope. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Lucas started showing up at the food truck every day, not just for lunch. He would come in the morning to help Maya set up. He would stay late to help her clean. He would bring her coffee and make her take breaks. At first, Maya tried to refuse his help. You are a billionaire. You shouldn't be cleaning grills. I like cleaning grills. It's meditative. Lucas, Maya. He put down the scrub brush and looked at her. I spent 15 years building a fortune. I can spend a few hours helping you build yours. This is not about money. No, it's about time. I missed 15 years of your life. Let me be here for some of it now. Maya could not argue with that, so she let him help. And to her surprise, as he was actually useful, he learned the menu, figured out the rhythm of the rush, even started taking orders when Ashley wasn't there. The customers loved him. Who is this new guy? They'd ask. Just a friend, Maya would say. He looks like he should be running a Fortune 500 company, not serving sweet potato fries. Everybody needs a side hustle, Lucas would reply with a wink. It became their routine, their rhythm, their strange, little life together. Maya's grandmother, Eleanor, noticed the change. You're smiling more, honey, Grandmother Elena said one evening. Maya had come to visit after closing the truck. You haven't smiled this much in years. I'm just tired, Abuela, Maya deflected. Honey, I've known you since you were a baby. Don't lie to me. Who is he? Maya sighed. There was no point hiding anything from her grandmother. The woman could read her like a book. His name is Lucas. He's an old friend. From when I was a kid. The boy you saved from the bullies down by the creek? Maya blinked. You remember that? I remember everything, honey. You came home that day with a torn dress and scraped knees, and the biggest smile. You said you made a friend. He moved away, and I thought I'd never see him again. But you did. He found me. At the food truck. Grandmother Elena smiled knowingly. And now he's helping you clean grill. That's what billionaires do with their time, is it? Maya groaned. How do you know he's a billionaire? I may be old, but I'm not stupid. I read the news. Lucas Hartwell, the youngest self-made billionaire in the country. Very handsome, very single, and apparently very interested in my granddaughter. Abuela. What? I'm happy for you. You deserve someone who sees your worth. It's not like that. We're just friends. Grandmother Elena gave her a look. Honey, that boy didn't spend 15 years looking for you just to be friends. Maya didn't have an answer for that. She was still trying to figure out what she and Lucas were, what they could be, what made sense given their very different lives. Lucas seemed content to wait. He didn't push. He didn't pressure. He just showed up every day, made himself useful, and reminded her in 1,000 small ways that he was there. It was confusing. It was wonderful. It was terrifying, because Maya was starting to feel things she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years, starting to imagine things that seemed impossible, starting to hope for things that could only end in heartbreak. Rich people didn't end up with food truck girls. That wasn't how the world worked. But Lucas kept showing up, and Maya kept letting him. And slowly, thrice carefully, walls she had built years ago started to crack. The trouble started on a Tuesday. Maya was at the hospital with her grandmother. Another round of tests, another conversation with doctors about treatment options and payment plans, and things Maya could barely afford. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ashley. Girl, there are like 5 news vans outside the truck. What did you do? Maya's blood ran cold. She excused herself and called Ashley immediately. What do you mean, news vans? I mean Channel 7 and Channel 4, and I think CNN are all parked outside Taste of Home. They're asking about you and Lucas Hartwell, something about a scandal. Maya felt her stomach drop. Scandal? I don't know details, but they're saying Lucas is dating a food truck owner, and his family is not happy about it. Girl, what have you gotten yourself into? Maya didn't know, but she was about to find out. She rushed back to her grandmother's room. Abuela, I have to go. Something happened at the truck. Go, honey. I'll be fine. Maya kissed her forehead and ran. By the time she reached Taste of Home, the crowd had grown. Not just news vans now. Photographers, reporters, random people with phones trying to catch a glimpse of the drama. And in the middle of it all, standing in front of her food truck like he owned it, was a man Maya had never seen before. He was tall, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked like Lucas might look in 30 years, if Lucas had a permanent sneer, and eyes that calculated everything like it was a business transaction. Richard Hartwell, Lucas's uncle, the man who had made his childhood a living hell. Miss Thompson, Richard said smoothly. So good to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. Maya stopped. The cameras were rolling. Everyone was watching. I don't know who you are, she said carefully. Oh, I think you do. Richard smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. I'm Lucas's uncle, his family, and I'm here to help you understand something very important. And what is that? Richard stepped closer. His voice dropped, but the microphones probably still caught it. You're making a mistake, Miss Thompson. Lucas is infatuated with some childhood fantasy, but fantasies don't last. And when he wakes up, when he realizes what he has done, you'll be left with nothing. I'm not after his money. Of course you're not. Richard's tone made it clear he didn't believe her. You're just a simple food truck owner who happened to reconnect with a billionaire. How romantic. Maya felt anger building. Whatever you think you know about me, you're wrong. I know everything about you, Miss Thompson. Your failing business, your grandmother's medical bills, your desperation. Richard leaned in. I know you need money, and I know Lucas is an easy target. The cameras clicked. The reporters scribbled. The crowd murmured. Maya felt sick. This was a setup. Richard was trying to make her look like a gold digger in front of the entire city. I didn't ask Lucas for anything, she said through gritted teeth. I didn't even know who he was until he told me. How convenient. It's the truth. The truth, Richard laughed. The truth is that my nephew has spent his entire life making foolish decisions based on emotion rather than logic. And you, Miss Thompson, are his latest mistake. But I'm here to fix that. He pulled out his phone and held it up. A photo filled the screen. Maya and Lucas at the park, holding hands, looking at each other. Recognize this? Richard asked. I have people watching Lucas, have for years. When he started sniffing around your little food truck, I knew something was wrong, so I investigated. You spied on us. I protected my family. Richard tucked the phone away. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to stop seeing Lucas. You're going to tell him it was all a mistake. And in return, I'll make all your problems disappear. What? $1 million, Miss Thompson, for you to walk away. That should cover your grandmother's treatment and then some. All you have to do is break Lucas's heart. Maya stared at him. $1 million. It would solve everything. The medical bills, the truck payments, the constant stress of wondering if she would have enough to survive another month. $1 million for one broken heart. No, Maya said, firmly. Richard's smile faltered. Excuse me? I said no. Maya's voice was stronger now, loud enough for the cameras to hear. You can take your money and your threats and your surveillance photos and shove them somewhere uncomfortable. Do you understand what you are turning down? Do you understand what you're asking me to do? Maya stepped forward, closer to him. You want me to betray the only person who has ever looked at me and seen something worth believing in? You want me to break the heart of a man who spent 15 years trying to find me. You want me to prove that I am exactly the kind of person you think I am. I am offering you a fortune. You are offering me blood money, and I will not take it. Not for $1 million. Not for $1 billion. Not for anything. The crowd was silent now. Even the reporters had stopped their questions. Richard's face twisted. You will regret this. Maybe. Maya held her ground, firm. But I will regret betraying Lucas a lot more. She pushed past him, ignoring the cameras, ignoring the questions, ignoring everything except the door of her food truck, Taste of Home. She climbed inside and locked it behind her. Then she sat on the floor and shook. What had she just done? She had just turned down $1 million on live television. She had just made an enemy of one of the most powerful men in the city. She had just painted a target on her back for every tabloid and gossip site in the country. All for Lucas, a man she had known for 3 months, a man she wasn't even sure she was dating, a man who deserved better than to have his family try to buy off his childhood friend. Maya's phone rang. She looked at the screen. Lucas, she answered, hesitantly. Maya, I just saw the news. Are you okay? Your uncle just offered me $1 million to dump you. I know. I saw. The whole world saw. There was awe in his voice. You said no. Of course I said no. Maya, $1 million. Lucas, I know. Silence. Then a sound that might have been a laugh or a SOB. I am coming to you. Do not move. I wasn't planning to. I'm hiding in my food trucks, like a coward. You are not a coward. You just stood up to Richard Hartwell on national television. That takes more courage than most people have in their entire lives. I also probably destroyed my business. Who is going to want to buy sweet potato fries from the woman in the middle of a billionaire scandal? Me. I want sweet potato fries. I want all your sweet potato fries. I will buy your entire inventory every day for the rest of my life. That is not sustainable. Neither is living without you. I will be there in 10 minutes. He hung up, abruptly. Maya sat in her truck and waited. She had no idea what came next, but for the first time in her life, she was not alone in facing it. Lucas arrived in 8 minutes. He pulled up in a car. That probably cost more than Maya's entire life savings, jumped out before it had fully stopped, and ran to the food truck. Maya opened the door, and he pulled her into his arms. "I am so sorry," he said into her hair. "Richard has always been a snake, but I never thought he would go this far. He called me a gold digger on national television. He is a liar, and everyone knows it." Lucas pulled back and looked at her intensely. "Maya, what you did, standing up to him like that, turning down his money, you didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. $1 million. Lucas's voice cracked. "You need that money, but your grandmother. My grandmother would kill me if I took blood money. She raised me better than that." Lucas laughed, a wet and broken sound. "God, you are incredible. Do you know that?" "I am terrified," Maya admitted. "Honestly, I just made an enemy of the most powerful man in your family, on camera, in front of the whole world. Richard is not the most powerful man in my family. I am. And he is about to find that out. What are you going to do?" "Something I should have done years ago." Lucas's jaw tightened, resolutely. "My uncle has been running my company's board for too long, using my name to make deals I never approved, taking credit for work he did not do. I have let it slide, and because family is supposed to matter. And now? Now he attacked the woman I love. So family does not matter anymore." Maya's breath caught. "The woman you what?" Lucas froze. He seemed to realize what he had just said. The woman I... He stumbled. "Did you just say, you love me?" "I was going to wait. Find the right moment. Make it romantic. But apparently my mouth had other plans." Maya stared at him. This man who had spent 15 years looking for her, who had helped her clean grills and serve sweet potato fries, who had just watched her turn down $1 million to stay by his side. "I love you too," she said, softly. Lucas's face lit up and like the sun coming out after a storm. "You do?" "I have been trying not to, because you are a billionaire, and I am a food truck owner, and this makes absolutely no sense. Love doesn't have to make sense." "No." Maya reached up and touched his face, gently. "I guess it doesn't." They kissed in the doorway of her food truck, cameras still flashing in the distance, reporters still shouting questions while the whole world watching. Neither of them cared. The fallout from Richard's attack was immediate and brutal. News coverage exploded. Maya Thompson became the most searched name on the internet. Her food truck was besieged by reporters, curious onlookers, and people who just wanted to see the woman who had turned down $1 million. Her business should have collapsed. Instead, it tripled. "I don't understand," Maya said, staring at the line that stretched around the block. "Why are all these people here?" Lucas grinned, proudly. "Because you became a folk hero, the woman who stood up to a billionaire bully and chose love over money. People want to support that. They want to support my sweet potato fries. They want to support you. The sweet potato fries are a bonus." Ashley was overwhelmed. Maya was overwhelmed. They had to hire 3 more people just to keep up with demand. "This is insane," Ashley said at the end of a 12-hour shift, exhausted. We served 500 people today. 500. We used to be happy with 50. Maya shook her head in disbelief. A week ago, I was worried about paying rent. Now I can't make enough food. It's the Lucas Hartwell effect. When a billionaire publicly declares his love for you, people pay attention. He didn't declare anything. He just said it. By accident. On camera. While fighting his evil uncle. That's basically a declaration. Maya supposed it was. Meanwhile, Lucas was waging war, true to his word. He went after Richard, with everything he had, board meetings, shareholder votes, legal actions, every dirty deal his uncle had made, every shortcut he had taken, every lie he had told. Lucas exposed it all. It was brutal. It was messy. It was very, very expensive. You didn't have to do this, Maya told him one night. They were sitting on her grandmother's porch, watching the stars. You could have just ignored him. I could never ignore what he did to you. Lucas replied. He didn't really hurt me, Maya said softly. Just embarrassed me. Lucas turned to face her. He took her hand. He tried to buy you. Honey, like you were a commodity. Like you were a problem to be solved with money. That's not just embarrassing, that's dehumanizing. He doesn't know me, Maya protested. He doesn't want to know you, Lucas said, his voice low. That's the point. To Richard, you're just an obstacle. Something standing between him and control of my life. He's been trying to manipulate me since I was 11 years old. And I let him. Because I thought I needed him. But you don't, Maya affirmed. No, Lucas admitted. I haven't needed him for years. I was just afraid to admit it. Afraid that without family, I'd be alone. Maya squeezed his hand. You're not alone. I know. Lucas smiled at her. I have you now, and your grandmother, and Ashley, and 500 people a day who want sweet potato fries and hand pies. Maya laughed. That's quite a support system. It's the only one I need, Lucas declared. Grandmother Eleanor shuffled onto the porch with 3 cups of tea. The aroma of chamomile filled the air. Stop being romantic and drink this, she said sternly, yet with a twinkle in her eye. It's good for your health. Yes, ma'am, Lucas said respectfully, accepting the cup. And you. Grandmother Eleanor pointed at Maya. Stop worrying so much, and the universe rewards courage. You were courageous. Now you get rewards. It's not that simple. Abuela. Toys, Maya sighed. It is exactly that simple. Grandmother Eleanor insisted. You just think too much. Lucas snorted into his tea, trying to suppress a laugh. Maya glared at him playfully. Don't encourage her. But she's right, Lucas chuckled. You do think too much. Grandmother Eleanor patted Lucas's shoulder. I like this one. He has sense. Tejas Maya gave up and drank her tea, resigning to their teasing. The war with Richard came to a head 3 weeks later. A showdown was inevitable. Lucas had called a special shareholders meeting. The agenda was simple. A vote of no confidence in Richard Hartwell. If it passed, Richard would be removed from the board. Permanently. Richard wasn't going down without a fight. He was ready to brawl. You're making a mistake, Richard said, his voice dripping with venom. The meeting was being held in a massive conference room. Hundreds of shareholders were present. Cameras were everywhere. This wasn't just business, this was theater. The only mistake I made was letting you stay this long, Lucas retorted, standing at the podium, calm and collected on the surface, but his eyes were steel. I built this company, Richard bellowed. No, Lucas corrected him. My father built this company. You just took credit after he died. Gasps rippled through the crowd. This was getting personal. It was a family feud playing out in public. Your father was weak, Richard sneered. He couldn't handle pressure, couldn't make hard decisions. If I hadn't stepped in, Hartwell Industries would have collapsed. My father had a heart attack because you were stealing from him. Lucas's voice cut through the room like a knife. I have the records, the hidden accounts, the embezzled funds. You drove him into the grave and then took everything he built. Richard's face went pale. A bead of sweat trickled down his temple. That's a lie. Is it? Lucas pulled out a thick folder. I have bank statements, emails, testimony from former employees. You've been defrauding this company for 20 years, and today, it ends. The room erupted, shareholders shouting, lawyers whispering urgently, Richard's face cycling through anger, fear, and desperation. It was a masterclass in corporate downfall. You can't prove any of this. Richard stammered. His voice was shaking now. I already have, Lucas said, his voice unwavering. The documents are being distributed to every shareholder, as we speak, along with a recommendation from the audit committee that you be removed immediately and referred to law enforcement. Lucas stepped away from the podium, his head held high. This man attacked someone I love, tried to destroy her reputation, offered her money to leave me. He thought he could buy and bully his way through life, forever. Lucas looked directly at his uncle, his gaze unwavering. He was wrong. The vote wasn't even close. It was a landslide. 92% in favor of removal. A clear and decisive victory. Richard Hartwell was escorted from the building by security. His face was a mask of fury, but there was nothing he could do. His reign was over. Lucas found Maya waiting outside and near the parking lot. She had watched the whole thing on her phone, streaming from the food truck. She felt like she had just witnessed history. How are you feeling? She asked, her voice full of concern. Lighter, Lucas replied. Like a weight I didn't know I was carrying is finally gone. You destroyed him, Maya said. He destroyed himself, Lucas corrected. I just made sure everyone knew it. Maya hugged him tight, burying her face in his chest. Your father would be proud. Lucas's arms tightened around her. I hope so. I've spent my whole life trying to live up to his memory, trying to build something he would be proud of. You have built something amazing. Maya pulled back and looked into his eyes. Not just the company. Lucas cupped her face in his hands. Us, this, you, that's what I'm proud of. Maya kissed him, right there in the street, in front of the Hartwell Industries headquarters, where anyone could see. She didn't care. Neither did he. They had earned this moment. 3 months after Richard's removal, Lucas proposed. He didn't do it at a fancy restaurant or an exotic location. He did it at Taste of Home, in front of the food truck where they had found each other. Again, Maya had arrived early to prep for the day, but instead of her usual setup, she found the truck surrounded by fairy lights, flowers everywhere, and Lucas standing in the middle, holding a small box. What is this? Maya asked, her voice breaking with emotion. This is where you saved me, Lucas said, his voice thick with emotion. The first time, when we were kids, and the second time, when you refused to give up on me. This is where I fell in love with you. Again. He got down on one knee, presenting the box. Maya Thompson, you gave me your sandwich when I was hungry. You stood up for me when I was scared. You turned down $1 million because you believed I was worth more than money. He opened the box. The ring inside was simple and beautiful, a single diamond that caught the morning light. Will you let me spend the rest of my life trying to be worth your faith in me? Maya was crying. She couldn't help it. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, she said. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Lucas slipped the ring onto her finger. Then he stood and pulled her into a kiss filled with love and gratitude, and a promise of forever, somewhere behind them. Ashley started cheering. Grandmother Eleanor was crying happy tears. A crowd had gathered. Strangers who had stopped to watch the billionaire propose to the food truck girl. It was a scene straight out of a movie. "This is the most romantic thing I've ever seen," someone exclaimed. "Better than the movies," someone else agreed. Maya didn't care about the audience. She only cared about Lucas, about this impossible, beautiful, insane life they had somehow built together. "I love you," she whispered against his lips, her voice trembling with emotion. "I love you too." Lucas smiled. "Still remember me?" Maya laughed through her tears. "Always." The wedding was held on the anniversary of the day they had first reconnected. It was a day of celebration and remembrance. 1 year since Lucas had shown up at Taste of Home. 1 year since he had whispered those words that changed everything. "Still remember me." They held the ceremony at the Oakwood Community Center, right in the old neighborhood. The same neighborhood where they'd both grown up, where Maya had once saved Lucas from a bunch of jerks, where their story had truly begun. It wasn't some fancy ballroom, wasn't some expensive resort. It was their place, filled with memories. The guests were a mix of Lucas's business associates, all suited and booted, and Maya's Taste of Home regulars, blue-collar, salt-of-the-earth types. Ashley was the maid of honor, looking radiant. Grandma Eleanor sat in the front row, dabbing away happy tears. Lucas stood at the altar, looking genuinely nervous for the first time since Maya had known him. Then, she walked down the aisle. She was wearing a simple white dress. Nothing designer, nothing flashy, just beautiful, elegant, understated. Lucas's face, the look on his face when he saw her, was something Maya knew she would remember for the rest of her life. "You look incredible," he whispered as she reached him. "You look terrified." "I am. I keep expecting to wake up and find out this was all a dream." "It's not a dream." Maya took his hands. "This is real. We are real." The officiant cleared his throat. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Lucas Hartwell and Maya Thompson, two people who found each other, lost each other, and found each other again." The ceremony was short and sweet, heartfelt. They'd written their own vows and pouring their hearts out. "Maya," Lucas began, his voice thick with emotion, 20 years ago, I was just a scared little kid. No friends, no hope. Then you appeared. You stood between me and those bullies, trying to hurt me. You shared your lunch with me, when I had nothing. You showed me what courage looks like." He squeezed her hands. "I spent 15 years trying to find you again. 15 years wondering if I would ever meet someone with your heart, your fire, your impossible, stubborn kindness." His voice cracked. Then one day said, "There you were, serving up those amazing chicken plates from Taste of Home. Still brave, still kind, still everything I remembered, and more. You didn't know who I was. You didn't care about my money. You just saw a customer and treated me like a human being." He smiled through his tears. "That is all I ever wanted. Someone who sees me, really sees me. Not the billionaire, not the company. Just me, the scared kid, who needed a friend." He took a breath. "Maya Thompson, you saved me twice, once when we were children and once when we were adults. I promise to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that. I promise to love you, support you, stand beside you, share my sandwiches with you, cut into triangles, because triangles taste better." Maya laughed through her own tears. "Lucas," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I grew up believing that good things just don't happen to people like me. Poor people, struggling people, people who can't afford to dream too big." She held his hands tighter. "Then you walked into my life or back into my life, Kitty, I suppose, and you showed me that the universe doesn't work the way I thought it did. That kindness comes back around. That courage is rewarded. That sometimes the skinny kid you saved from bullies grows up to be a billionaire. who never forgot you. Her voice trembled. You didn't just remember me. You looked for me. You found me. You chose me. Not despite where I came from, but because of it. You saw my food truck, and my bills, and my sick grandmother, and you did not run away. You stayed. She wiped her eyes. Lucas Hartwell, you taught me that I deserve to be loved, that I deserve to be happy, that dreams aren't just for other people. I promise to love you, support you, stand beside you, and never stop serving you chicken plates with extra sweet potato fries. The officiant smiled warmly. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Lucas pulled Maya into a kiss, a long, passionate kiss. The guests erupted in cheers, the sound echoing through the community center. Grandma Elena was sobbing, happy tears streaming down her face. Ashley was snapping pictures, her phone working overtime. The old neighborhood was celebrating two of their own who had made it out and come back, together. It was perfect. It was home, 5 years after the wedding. Maya stood on a stage, bathed in the warm glow of the spotlights. She was addressing the graduating class of the Santos Hartwell Culinary School, a school she and Lucas had founded together, a place where underprivileged kids could learn to cook and build careers in food. The first thing I want to tell you, Maya said, her voice clear and strong, is that your background does not define your future. The students listened in rapt attention. I grew up poor. I lost my parents young. I spent years struggling to survive. There were times I thought about giving up, times I wondered if any of it was worth it. She smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile. Then, I met someone who showed me that kindness matters, that courage matters, that showing up for people matters. And eventually, that person found me again. And together, we built something I never could have imagined. She gestured at the school around them. This place exists because I once shared a peanut butter sandwich with a hungry kid. That is all it took. One small act of kindness that rippled out. For decades, her voice strengthened, gaining a newfound resonance. You are going to face challenges. You are going to face people who doubt you, people who try to buy you, or bully you, tired into giving up, people who look at where you came from and decide where you belong. She leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with passion. Do not listen to them. You decide where you belong. You decide what your life means. You decide how far you can go. The students started to applaud, their hands clapping in unison, a wave of appreciation washing over her. One more thing, Maya said, holding up a hand. The most important lesson I have learned. Life is not about the moments, when everything goes right. It is about the moments, when you choose to keep going anyway, when you share your sandwich with a stranger, when you stand up to bullies, when you turn down $1 million, because your integrity matters more. She smiled, a radiant, unwavering smile. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments that change the world. The applause thundered through the auditorium, shaking the very foundations of the building. In the front row, Lucas sat with their children, 3-year-old Elena, named after Maya's grandmother, 1-year-old Marcus, named after Lucas's father, grandmother Elena herself, still going strong at 78, beaming with pride. Ashley was there too. She ran the original Taste of Home now. The food truck had become a fleet of 20, a small empire built on good food and hard work. Mommy is amazing, little Elena said, her eyes wide with admiration. Yes, she is, Lucas agreed, squeezing her hand gently. Just like her mommy. Maya finished her speech and walked off stage, straight into her husband's arms. "You were incredible," he said, kissing her softly. "I almost didn't do it. Public speaking still terrifies me. But you did it. Anyway, that is what makes you incredible." Maya looked at her family, her children, her grandmother, her best friend, her husband, the life she had built from nothing. "Do you ever think about how crazy this is?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. 20 years ago, we were 2 kids, sharing a sandwich. Now, we have schools, and food trucks, and children. I think about it every day." Lucas kissed her forehead. "It reminds me that anything is possible. Even fairy tales? Even fairy tales. Especially ours." They walked out of the auditorium together, a family forged not just by blood, but by choice, by courage, and by a stubborn refusal to give up on each other. So, what would you have done in Maya's position? Would you have stood up for a stranger, even when it cost you something? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if this story touched your heart, consider using the Super Thanks button to support more content like this. Every little bit helps bring these stories of hope and connection to life. It truly does. The story of Maya Thompson and Lucas proves that even the smallest acts of kindness can ripple outwards, changing the world, one person at a time. A shared sandwich, a moment of courage, a refusal to walk away when someone really needs you. These are the things that truly matter. These are the things that really last. A food truck girl almost ignored a stranger in line until he whispered 4 words, 4 powerful words that changed everything. "Still remember me?" She did, and because she did, both their lives were transformed forever. That is the power of kindness. That is the magic of connection. That is what happens when you choose love over fear, when you choose to see the good in others. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep those hearts open. And remember, even the smallest act can make a huge difference.